Let's start with talking a little bit about kind of your we can we'll start off with your academics. I'm assuming those things are going okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So and your classes, what classes are you taking this term?
This term, algebra, English, Chinese,
Mhm.
physics, and peace and justice, which is like my elective.
And that's your elective. Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. All right. So and those classes seem to be going fine, should be going fine. And then for extracurriculars, what are you involved in this semester?
I'm still doing debate,
Hmm.
and then I'm doing diving. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, just those two things. And
Yeah.
I think those two take up a good chunk of your time.
Yeah, but actually, like, for like debate, I feel like it's kind of different from my old school because like clubs here are just different because there's no teacher at a club. So it's
Mhm.
like very like flexible, but also like sometimes meetings don't even happen and they're like once a week.
Okay.
So
And
I
does
feel like
your
I got more training back in Japan. But it's like I also get more competition
Okay,
opportunity.
and do you compete with other schools in the region then?
Yeah, like we have tournaments and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, but it's entirely student led.
The club meetings are
Yeah.
and then when it comes to like tournaments, the teachers like reach out to you and like tell you that you've been chosen for the tournament, but like nothing else really.
Oh, okay. And are most of these tournaments kind of just within the schools? Do you compete in anything beyond kind of the regional school competitions?
Yeah, like New England boarding schools,
Okay.
pretty much.
Okay, so just the kind of the New England boarding schools. Okay. And how are you finding debate?
Actually, like I did WSDC, which is like a different format of debate than they do here in the US. So honestly, like I haven't been placing as much in tournaments like I used to in Japan. So it's like kind of frustrating, but it's okay because I also have like a debate partner who's also from Hong Kong
Hmm.
and we um get to team up a lot and she also did WSDC and we're like trying to work through it together. But
Okay.
yeah.
And your school, and so your school, the regional debate style is what, parliamentary?
Yeah,
Okay.
policy format, policy
Policy
forum.
format. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you need to learn is just the format.
Yeah.
And then you'll get, and then
It's
that'll
good.
happen. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And how would you say your team is in terms of just quality? Do you have people that you can be learning from, people who can kind of be guiding you?
Yeah, I think um I don't know, it's just been different because well, first of all, like debate happens 3 times a week, but you just go to one of those three. So it's not like the team is like a really tight knit thing. It's more like you go to like
Okay.
learn from um the captains or the people running the club meetings and you do like one practice round and they give you feedback. So it doesn't really feel like a team, honestly, but it's like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
Okay. Would you be interested in finding more ways to be improving your debate
Yeah.
or getting more practice and more feedback?
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Because yeah, 'cause I only bring this up just because we have recently partnered up with the Harvard College Debate Union.
Oh
And they
yeah.
do
Actually, like me and my teammate, we were planning to go this
uh
year, but then not for WSGC, but for PF to get some practice for the
okay.
summer.
Okay, got it. So yeah, so and they're going to be in Japan next week for a tournament that we're hosting here in Japan. But I'll be meeting with the vice president of training for Harvard Debate, and part of what I want out of this partnership is not just tournaments that we can host, but opportunities from some of our students to get access to training because we do have quite a few students who are similar to you who kind of are in boarding school, do debate, but like whether it be structural issues such as yours or for other different reasons, just don't have the access to rigorous debate training and feedback, but really want to pursue a either a high school career or eventually a career that requires some of those skills. So that will be something that I will be looking into for you. And if you're interested in getting kind of extracurricular additional debate opportunities, as well as access to not just regional, but more national competitions, we do have a couple partnerships with people with debate coaches and debate coaching teams that kind of work with a bunch of students and then have the connections to participate in national level competitions, even if they're kind of online competitions and so on and so forth. If that's something you're interested in, a skill that you're interested in developing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, I'll update you after my conversation and as well as send along a couple of the resources I've sent to some of my other students so we can get engaged with that. What do you enjoy about debate?
Sorry.
What do you enjoy about debate?
Um, that you get to argue in like a safe space, I think.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I think it makes me more confident like outside of debate because
Mhm.
you're kind of put on the spot. You're like forced to be put on the spot and you have to like talk, sometimes go up even though you have like no idea what you're saying. And you have to
Mhm.
like pretend that you know what you're saying,
Yep.
which I think can be used outside of debate because a lot of the times like conversations are like that. So I think
Mhm.
it's made me more confident outside of that too because before I like really wasn't.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I think the kind of the fake it till you make it mindset is important. And just having the confidence to engage in those things. The other reason why I'm glad that you're pursuing debate, and I want to kind of build upon this a little bit. We just kind of went through our past cycle, and while I think in terms of applications and while our students kind of generally did quite well, one of the essay topics that I think a lot of top universities are asking now that a lot of students just have a really difficult time answering. There's a question around disagreement. And so one of the questions that Harvard, Stanford, Yale, every Ivy plus and even some of the top 50 schools are asking is share a time that you strongly disagreed, not just disagreed, but strongly disagreed with someone. And how did you
Mhm.
respond? How did you change their perspective or how did your perspective change as a result? Right. And most students, what they can volunteer is, oh yeah, in a group project, we disagreed on like how we should be submitting a blah, blah, blah. Right.
Right.
And now because with the rise of AI, what we've seen is that a lot of these top 2 universities are trying to find questions that if you just haven't lived a meaningful life, kind of basically up until this point, or a challenging life up until this point, you just can't answer the question, right?
Right.
And so something for you to, I do think that that is the direction a lot of admissions is going to be going. So by the time you are applying, a lot of the questions, there will be a lot more video and interview, right? So you doing
Right.
debate and
Yeah.
you being good at presentation, you being good at independent articulation, you being good
Mhm.
at kind of sharing what matters to you and being convincing in that context is useful. But the other thing that I think that I will be reminding you and that Vincent will be reminding you as well is to engage in challenge, right? It's okay now within high school to take risks, right? And to engage with people with a lot of different divergent points of view because that's the way you're going to be building yourself into the type of student that top universities want, right? And I know that that can sometimes be difficult to do in boarding school where everyone is kind of somewhat the same. But in terms of how you use your summers and how you're using your break times, right? Making sure that you are getting outside of that bubble and engaging with difference is going to be really important with you as well. And don't be afraid to express your opinion, right? Develop beliefs that you can stand by and articulate in that context. So just a couple points there. And then leading from that, right? Given that, I kind of wanted to ask, given the timeline, it's already January, which means that some deadlines are going to be approaching. Have you thought at all about what you want to be doing for the summer?
Not really. Um,
Okay.
just the debate camp, maybe. I'm not really sure, honestly.
What would you want to do given where you like where what do you feel like you need to explore a little bit more so you can kind of start to lock in what you might be interested in kind of chasing after during high school?
Mm, yeah, I don't really know what summer camps are like because I've never been to one.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like a summer camp or program necessarily. It's just more about types of experiences that you want to get
right.
into. And so um I guess for me, I guess the starting point would be like since we last talked. Have you kind of refined a little bit more like what sort of area you're interested in, what type of major you potentially might be interested in pursuing or career?
Um, well, I thought
Hmm.
I thought about it a little bit and I thought I'd be a humanities kid just because of debate and I do
Hmm.
that. But honestly, after being at Trout, I like the structure and more like the predictability of STEM. And I'm like
Hmm.
not locked in, but like I'm leaning towards something STEM, I think. Like I realized like I didn't have to like go into humanities to have to make good at debate. So like I can still
Yeah.
like do STEM and do debate. I just like assumed that I was a humanities kid, but I realized I don't really love it as much as my like STEM subjects because I'm really loving like math, well, physics right now.
Okay. What are you loving about physics? That's really interesting.
Well, I mean, I feel like I said this last time, but like my teacher is also my diving coach, so I
Yep.
got like a lot of time with
Hmm.
him, and I really love his classes. Because I actually feel like I'm learning something new,
Hmm.
which um in English, I'm not really enjoying that class. Like I enjoyed English in my old school, but not really right now.
Okay.
Um, yeah. In physics, like we actually get to do like hands-on learning. Like one day, like our teacher just brought us into our lab, not even like completely unrelated to what we were doing to class. He was just like,
Hmm.
oh, like I want you to like take a look at this. And I really like that and I want to do more of that.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, and this extends to math kind of as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think the good thing is that please continue to kind of be open to following and shifting your interests as things move. I do think that
Yeah.
one of the most important things is that at the end of the day, every top school fundamentally is a liberal arts at its base. Even engineering schools, even a lot of most of these other programs are liberal arts as a base. And so you being able to show that you have kind of strong STEM and the humanities side of it is ultimately going to be important. So mapping things out so that all of that tracks is also important for you as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of summer, right? And so the way that some of these summer programs work is that you will kind of be able to take a look, and there's a couple different ways that these work. So some of them are more kind of basically are called what we call kind of pre-college programs, where you will sign up and you'll have the opportunity to take, depending on the school, you will be able to take university level courses at the university, right? Usually taught by professors, and they will award credit. So one of the ways of evaluating whether a summer pre-college program is worthwhile is whether they reward credit for it. And so Harvard has a pre-college that runs for either 4 or 7 weeks, right? And you will take, if you do the 7 week course, you will take two full classes, and these are proper Harvard level undergraduate classes. And then you will earn kind of credits for that with Harvard, right? And be able to move through, and you'll have a kind of a wide range of courses to pick from. So that's kind of more on the academic side, right? And the debate camps I'm sure you were already familiar with. And then the other programs are a little bit more kind of topical or related to an area of interest. And so I can share you an example here. So this is kind of through the National Youth Leaders Foundation. And so this is something that I am a member of. And so I can recommend students to go and join these different ones, but they have a kind of a wide range of different potential interests: medicine and healthcare, engineering, business innovation, intensive law and trial, right? There's an aerospace academy, right? Advanced medicine, health, culinary. If you're interested in that, you can also do the music as well. So these are ones that are a little bit more targeted around helping you explore sort of an interest, as opposed to necessarily being kind of it's a little bit less academic and more a chance for you to experience the ins and outs of a particular subject, um,
That's
to
so cool.
uh, to kind of see what you would be interested in doing, right? And so another program that offers some interesting courses is University of Southern California, right? And so they do offer kind of a range of different experiences. that are available. So if we kind of click on the courses here, you can kind of see they're kind of all over the place in terms of their interest, but they're a little bit more kind of they're less academic sounding, right? Exploration of architecture, right?
Mhm.
Bitcoin and AI, unlocking the future of finance and technology, right? Know your customer, spot the trend, tell the story in terms of marketing, right? And so there's kind of a wide range of different things to engage in. It's just a matter of kind of how you want to be engaging in some of these and what you want to use your summer to do. Because I think, especially young, given that you're pretty early on relatively, using your summer to kind of start to refine a little, at least for the purposes of your high school, right? What you want to be going towards, or kind of the story that you want to be building, or the direction you want to be moving in, will be helpful. And taking some of these classes and engaging with some of this stuff can be useful. That is one way to spend your summer, right? Is doing these things. And the nice thing about these is that as long as you apply and you get in, it's guaranteed as long as you are able to kind of fulfill the academic requirements, right? The other ways, of course, have to do with kind of internships, doing your own research, right? Engaging in some of those different things as well. But the reason I do bring some of this stuff up is that for summer programs, a lot of the deadlines are going to be basically next month, and then March kind of the latest, right, for the more competitive programs. And so if you are interested in some of those opportunities, then we kind of need to engage in the research and figure out kind of what you might be interested in applying for now. And those things will, because those will require a teacher recommendation, they will require essays, depending on the program, right? There is an application process for these pieces if that's something that you are interested in. So that's something that I did want to just flag for you. You don't need to necessarily decide like today. But if you have kind of a general direction that you are thinking about, or even just a region that you would like to be in for the summer, right? I can start putting together some resources and send them for you and your family to look over and discuss. And we can so just that you can think about that, and then whatever you decide makes the most sense for you, you can either discuss with Vincent, or you can just let me know, and we can start helping you engage in some of those opportunities.
Okay,
Right.
makes sense.
So having heard all of that, do you have anything that you might be interested in pursuing at all, or anything that you're thinking, oh, would be cool if I could spend a summer class learning a little bit more about this? You said you're starting to discover an interest in physics, right? Would kind
Yeah.
of an intro to engineering type of course be interesting to you? Like, what sort of range of things comes to mind?
Um, maybe like something like, yeah, like science related, because I've never done like no, I've never done any like deep dive into any science. I've only ever like taken classes in school. So that'd be really cool.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And are there universities that you have heard of that you would be interested in checking out at all? Just to start to get to a feel for the campus, a feel for like kind of what it would be like to be on that campus, anything like that.
Um, I don't know, like maybe like on the East Coast, just
Yep.
because I'm here right
Yep.
now.
Yeah. And I mean, and obviously, yeah, that's it's totally fine to not necessarily have anything just top of mind yet. But I think that will be part of some of the opportunities. Like I'll find a kind of combination of possibilities for you in terms of
Okay.
location, in terms of school type, school size. Right, because I do think that those are good things to start kind of getting in your head to start to think about in terms of what you want out of a university experience. Because the earlier you have that sort of kind of start to that you the earlier you start thinking about it,
Mhm.
the better, just in general.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, got it. And then have you started look into debate camps, or were you just kind of throwing out debate camp as something you might possibly want to do?
Like the only one I was looking at was the Harvard one.
Okay.
Because that's something we were like just talking about on the bus and to the tournament we had last week.
Uh-huh.
And it had it's like separated into different debate formats, and I just wanted to like get better at the one that we're doing right now at school.
Okay, to just
So
really,
I
really
thought that
grind
was
on like parliamentary.
yeah, MPF, yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, okay, sounds good. Do you know what the deadlines for that are? Have you started
I
to?
think it's like until it's full. It's like
Okay.
more and it's signups have already started. But
Mhm.
like um somebody told me that like PF isn't as popular as like WSDC say, so like
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean that is true.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
PF
don't
tends to be not as popular, which is always
yeah,
why
I
I'm a
don't think
little
it's
bit
gonna be full like
surprised.
today.
It's a little, I'm always a little bit surprised when I hear like an entire region is pursuing PF
Yeah.
as an approach, just because I'm like, well, that cuts you out of a lot of different potential debate opportunities, actually. Um,
Yeah, I feel
okay.
like yeah, the coaches even said like the debate circle in boarding schools is just like very, very like exclusive
Yeah.
that they don't even like I don't know, they don't even like send emails out to people outside because it was just like I don't know, like a deliberate decision they made that they wanted to keep it within the circle or something. I don't really know why, but yeah,
Okay.
apparently it is like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I'm going to, especially because your partner, are you and your partner close?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
she's on Hong Kong dev team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested to see if she has any potential connections as well. But I'll connect to you with one of our partners. And they're the debate center is centered in India, but they do run an international pretty high level training on Saturday mornings your time, and that includes students from the US. And they connect those students with not only training but with local tournaments to be engaged in, and a couple different opportunities there. And you'll have kind of a trial session, etc. But if that stuff works for you, right, then that would be something for you and your partner to potentially engage in, just to kind of
Yeah.
get more exposure and to not lose world schools.
Yeah. I don't want
I
to work
think
with world schools.
yeah.
I love that for Matt. I
Yeah,
get
like
I
I
get
like while I like for myself as a debate
it.
coach, World Schools is such the superior format to PF. I would
Yeah. PF is
and
like very like on the surface.
it's on the surface and it's very kind of rigid, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really allow a lot of the flexibility that WSCC does. So okay, anyways, good. So that's good. I think it's good that you want to kind of really hone in on PF just to improve your standing with the team as well. But I think those things will be useful. And I'll start putting together a list of summer programs just as options for you to consider. I'll prioritize kind of intro to different types of STEM possibilities
Yeah.
for you, just so you can think about it, think
That'd be
about
great.
which fields might be interesting for you. And then we can move those things along. Okay. Okay, so a couple other different things that I wanted to discuss with you, and these things will sort of emerge down the line, right? But you do have a couple of different things with us in terms of summer support, but also in terms of your independent research, as well as competition support if there's competitions that you are interested in joining beyond debate. So if you're interested in like the John Locke essay competition, which is going to be opening up this May, right? It's an interesting one for you to start to get to be thinking about if you want to kind of balance the humanities and the STEM side. Right. But those are things that we will, I think I don't want to rush while those are part of your program and part of the package that you have with us, your research, your capstone project, in particular, are ones that I want you to have a more clear idea on what you want to do, but also kind of b what are some problems you want to solve or challenges you want to tackle before we really engage.
Mm,
Because we can, of course, set those early, but a lot of that, especially now, would end up kind of either dragging you through it or bombarding you with stuff that you're not fully familiar with or locked in on. And so
Yeah.
those are pieces that we will kind of start to implement either in sophomore or junior year, right? To really kind of hone in on those pieces. So those pieces, those parts of your program, we will hold off. I think the primary piece is making sure, obviously, that your academics stay strong, that you start engaging in a summer that is going to test you in a lot of different ways, so that ideally, kind of midway through next year or by summer next year, you kind of have decided on kind of a few things that you really care kind of quite deeply about and want to pursue, right?
Mhm.
Okay. 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 So I think that those are a couple of the main areas that I wanted to initially cover. But and then I think that the other pieces are going to be in terms of overall course selection and things like that. So when does your school normally do selection for next year?
Um, I actually don't know. I think it's like over the summer or a little bit before that. I'm sure it's not
Yeah, yeah, it's not going to
anytime
be anytime
soon.
soon.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you kind of mapped out, have you looked ahead to see what classes you might need to be taking in order
Um,
to get access to some of the higher level classes?
that's like one of the things I wanted to ask about, like what classes I should take next year because I know there's five core classes. There's one that's added on to the four that I'm taking right now, except for Peace and Justice, which is like my elective.
Hmm.
We have World History, except apparently like this year they decided to take away honors World History, so everybody just takes the same World History. Um, so yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And then so because you have five core classes, you can either choose to just take those or add on another course, which would be like your elective and you take six classes, which is like
Okay.
one more than what you would be taking freshman year.
And is that normally considered to be like really tough for a lot of for most
I think it
students?
really depends on the person and the kind of elective you take, but I know that world history is a really tough course, or like people say that it is. So I don't think everybody takes six courses like every term. I know some people take it like for one term because they have a class that they really want to take, or like intro to psychology, something that's like really popular, apparently.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I think in most of the other things, so your math and your math at least progression should be very straightforward, right? You'll be just be going into like algebra 2,
The
right?
pre-K.
Or you'll be going into pre-calc.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then for science, do things
Mhm.
open up in terms of what you'll be
Um,
doing?
no, I'm just gonna take chemistry, I think. You can
Okay,
either go into biochemistry, but you need like a chemistry credit
to
before.
do like
Yeah, so chemistry.
physics or a lot of the other
Yeah, and I
stuff, right?
think I could get into chemistry honors
Okay,
because I'm
okay.
in the honors class right now and
Yep,
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
yep. Okay, got it. And then okay, got it. Interesting. So, and then you will be okay, and then in terms of your English,
English is like
I feel like it's a pretty
same for
strict
everybody.
progression. And yeah, I think that's a pretty
Yeah,
strict progression until like
there's
11th or
nothing.
12th
Yeah.
grade when things open up, right?
Mhm.
So I think English and history are relatively straightforward, actually. And then for math and science, you have a couple options, but it sounds like you made up your mind there. Um, so in terms of like, should you do sticks? I do think that at every point in um, at every point in kind of how I, as an admissions officer, analyze your profile, more is better as long as you can keep up your standards, right? So if taking six means everything drops to a B plus, then don't take six,
Yeah.
right? And so it's about making sure that you have that balance. However, right, obviously the ceiling is higher if you choose to take six because the best possible outcome is you take six and you keep a 4.0, right? Or you keep a max GPA, right? And so because then you're showing rigor, right, from even just from sophomore year, right? And I think that that also always is important, especially when you are trying to stand out at a pretty competitive school like yours. right?
Yeah.
So every little thing matters, right? Do you know of a lot of people in the grade above who are doing six?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So
Mm.
that would be my understanding, right? Is that if that's kind of the baseline of competitiveness,
Yeah.
um, then I actually don't think it's an option.
Yeah.
I think
I
you
think I'm
you
gonna
you
take
you
six.
just need to go for it, and then I think you need to figure out kind of what is the combination to take that is going to be most interesting for you. Okay.
Yeah, and I would love to do that because like this year, the Chinese course that I'm taking fulfills one
Mhm.
of the credits. So I was allowed to drop one of my like social studies classes because I didn't need to take it because my Chinese also
Yeah.
like fulfilled that. But then when I was looking through electives, like freshman year, you can't really take anything
Yeah.
or like and just like nothing matched my schedule. So I actually ended up taking that course anyways, or like putting that in my um
Yeah.
schedule anyways, which I was just like really frustrated about. So I'm just like, and then in sophomore year, the only way you can take an elective is to take a sixth course. So
Yep.
I won't do that.
Yep. Okay. Okay, good. I think that's good. I think that's good for you to keep in mind. The other thing that I wanted to be just putting on your radar when it comes to planning things out,
Mhm.
is your school's signature academic programs, right?
Yeah.
Which I think that it's important for you to be thinking about, especially now that you maybe have discovered, hey, STEM might be my thing, because your
Mhm.
school's science research program is quite distinct and actually really,
Yeah.
really strong. And
Mhm.
so if you can do that
I,
in your school and then outside of school with us do additional research as well, those two things fit together really, really nicely. So
yeah.
have you looked at kind of those signature programs? Because initially when you said the humanities, I was like, oh, perfect, because you have the JFK program, you've got a couple other programs at your school that are very strong. But now that you're kind of moving in a different direction, have you kind of familiarized yourself with what's available?
Yeah. I definitely know what they are. And also like we had like a virtual program like
Mhm.
to as like an introduction to all of them. And I tried to watch all of them. So I think like the ones that are on my radar right now are SRP, like you just said.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
then the other one, like the environmental
Yep.
immersion.
The EIP. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Interesting. Tell me about your interest in the EIP, because the science one makes sense given what you told me. But
Yeah.
what's your interest in EIP?
Um, like, because you live off campus,
Hmm.
when you do the program,
Hmm.
and it also seemed like it also kept like your options open because it was like super multidisciplinary. Even though it has to do with like the environment.
Hmm.
Um, so like you can still expand into like they give like examples of students. So like one person actually went into like research, um, like science, but like one
Hmm.
person went into like law that had to do. I don't know. It
Hmm.
just seemed like your
Yeah,
options
no,
open.
it's
But
super
I'm not
versatile.
really sure. I also got to go to the campus because like my mentor lives there. And it's really
Very
nice.
cool. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So, no, I think that's all good. Tell me about this mentor. Who do you like? Is this like a teacher mentor, a student
Oh,
mentor? Like,
student
who is
men.
this
So
mentor?
basically, like all international kids get a mentor. Um,
Kind of like a
yeah, yeah,
senpai
yeah, yeah, to
to.
like take you around, especially like the first few days of school. And I got matched
Mhm.
up with like the best mentor because I don't know, she was like really helpful in the first few days, and she's also from Japan. Um,
Uh,
yeah, and she's a junior, and she lives at the camp. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Got it. And that's something that obviously I imagine you will step into once you get there, in
I
terms
hope
of you being
so.
a
I
junior
really
and kind
hope
of take
so.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So I think then, I think that for in terms of starting to think about these programs, I think it's important for you to start thinking about, if you haven't already, what are kind of big questions you have or challenges in the world that you want to tackle, especially if you end up becoming potentially interested in EIP, right? It's really going to be about like what is the problem that you want to tackle and solve when it comes to environmental sustainability, right? Things like that, right? If you are choosing to go into SRP, like what is the topic that you want to research, right? And so as you're going through your classes and as you think about kind of potentially the summer courses that you want to be taking, I think the major thing to be thinking about is like, okay, what am I interested in tackling? What am I interested in uncovering? Or what problems am I interested in solving? Right. I think all of those
Right.
pieces kind of fit into that. And this leads me to kind of the next thing I wanted to discuss with you. I do think that boarding schools struggle when it comes to service. Um, in terms of like meaningful service. And I do think that service is a bigger deal now more than ever for colleges. And so, how have you, what are the opportunities available at Choate and how have you been thinking about engaging with community impact?
Like community service.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, well, I think I don't I'm not really sure about the meaningful part, but like I'm pretty sure I know that Choate wants makes community service like a huge part of like credit hours every year
mhm.
that we have this like
Yep,
program I did with my old
yep.
school. But and then we have like community service day where everybody like goes out into different um different projects and I don't know, like I packed lunches for US Hunger, which I
Mhm.
thought was genuinely really cool because the entire um but yeah, I think it's just that it's a requirement and they give you a lot of different
Yep.
resources to like pick from and you like submit a reflection and you present that in school meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah,
it's credit requirement. And
good.
I
And I,
think
mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's I again, not to knock it, right? I think that's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do
Mm-hmm.
also think that A, because it's a requirement, everyone's got it. And an admissions
Yeah.
officer will know this. But the other thing is that I think that I really want you to be thinking about how to take advantage of the fact that your home is not Northeast America, right? That your home is Japan.
Hmm.
And just because I do
Yeah.
think that that additional layer of perspective and of culture is very compelling, right? To admissions officers who want to see that you are going to bring that to their campus as well, right? And I don't think that means you have to go off now and join the Japan affinity group at your school, right? Right, that's
Yeah.
fine, right? It's mostly just watching anime and making Japanese curry, right? But I think that but when it comes to what you want to do in terms of service, right? I do think that thinking a little bit more about how to stay connected to your roots here is really important. I think that for this past cycle, just going through our results from kind of top school admits, I think 8 out of 10 of them, including several students who are in boarding school, in their essays very explicitly mentioned things that have to do with Japanese culture or Japanese proverbs or phrases that kind of guide kind of their life, whether that be like the idea of like omotenashi or wabi sabi, right? Or different things, right? And how
Hmm.
those kind of have shaped their approach to boarding school life and shaped their approach that they hope to bring to the university. All of them are very clear on this, right? And so
Hmm.
thinking a little bit about how you are engaging and kind of connecting with your culture is maybe another area to think about when it comes to service and how you want to be connecting and how you potentially want to use some of your summer. And that is kind of another aspect that I wanted to raise to you in terms of how you're spending your summer is some of that can just be used to engage in meaningful opportunities here that connect with what you're interested in doing.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So I think that those were some of the main things that I at least wanted to check in with you on and cover. Obviously, summer is the big kind of, if we're talking about an immediate deadline, summer is the big
Mhm.
thing that is going to be coming up in the next couple months. And so I do want to make sure that figuring that out, and putting together a roadmap and a plan around that, is kind of an absolute A1 priority. But the rest is also just them thinking a little bit ahead of how to make sure that your academic profile stands out, right? Among other choice students, right? And making sure you're taking advantage of the signature programs that you're looking ahead and planning out kind of your next 4 years, what that potentially looks like. I think is a good exercise to go through. And one that I think I'll remind Vincent to make sure that he does with you just to plan out kind of your priorities and how things would all fit in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I
Okay.
just feel like it's just like not enough to get A's at show because
No.
like it feels like everything is like literally like leaderships or like classes. It's just like a bloodbath here.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also like
What?
so many people are like athletes, they're like recruits or like everybody's like their parents like met at Harvard or something. I don't know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So you're up against legacy, you're up against athlete, you're up against kind of
Yeah.
super artists, you're up kind of against all of those other different things. And but that's also why I really want you to really be thinking a little bit about kind of your route here. Because I do think when you think about like what is there to leverage, right? If you just lean on the resources that only Cho provides, literally everything you can do is something that someone else can do.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you can do that is not that your classmate cannot do when it comes to just choke, right? And this is something that is very particular to boarding school challenges, right? So the area for which you should be really thinking about, especially because you have a network here, you have parents who can support you here, right? You have all these other things that are here, right? What is it that you can be doing during your summers, during your breaks, right? Or even without, right? What can you be doing even online now, right, to start being able to show that you have that cultural piece that you are bringing forward,
Mhm.
into and engaging with. So just a couple of things to be thinking about though. Yeah, I know Choate is rough in terms of all of this. Do you know how did your senpai do this year? How are your seniors in terms of early outcomes? Do you know?
Um, well, I know that like there's like an Instagram page of like
Uh-huh.
people who got into their schools
Yeah.
and I know they're like amazing schools up there. In terms of like the people that I actually know, um we have like prefects in our dorm.
Hmm.
And I know two of them at least did ED to like their schools. I think one was Wash U and then Amherst.
Okay. Nice,
And
nice, nice.
then one of the people that I got closer to in Chinese class, who's a senior, ED to Dartmouth.
Hmm.
And the other one, I know she applied to Brown. I'm not sure if she got in because of what happened at Brown and like
Yep.
delays and stuff. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. One of the things that we'll start looking into as we move a little bit further is kind of Choate's own track record with different schools. All the top boarding schools keep pretty close track of like where they have particular relationships, especially in the Northeast. Different
Yeah.
schools kind of
Yeah.
have different partnerships, not partnerships per se, but they basically will say like this many kids per grade are probably going to end up getting into these particular schools, right? And
Right.
those are other things that we're going to
Yeah.
have to take
I know
into
people talk about
consideration. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's something that we're going to have to take into consideration as we move forward, right? But don't worry about that stuff for now. I think right now, um, all of the strategizing doesn't matter if you don't kind of have an angle
that.
that you yourself are kind of passionate about engaging in, regardless of college outcomes, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so I think making sure that this summer you're engaged with that, um, but also that you are, I guess let me frame this way. In terms of learning about outside of the classroom, what resources do you use? Like how do you learn about stuff that you're interested in?
Like personally or like at school?
Yeah, personally, yeah.
So,
For school, I'm sure you found your kind of YouTube videos and things that kind of guide you through things, but what are some of the kind of recent ways in which you discovered new stuff, dig into stuff that you like, right? Like if I were to
mm.
hack and get a hold of your kind of YouTube or TikTok account right now, right? What is looking at that, what would I be able to tell that you're interested in? Like, what are you interested in learning about just for fun, just because it interests you?
Well, actually, like I did website design before and I quit like after coming in the show and I just
Uh-huh.
haven't been doing it because like I went to this like not class, it was just like a thing like once a week
Yeah,
where I got to do that and like I'm the kind of person that like unfortunately like without structure like I can't keep things going long term and like especially because like I'm like here
understood. Yeah.
but like I reached out to a friend who
Uh-huh.
does like a lot of art um and I've always been wanting to do like an art profile. So I was like, when we were talking about this, I'm like making an art profile website for her. And I'm making like the frameworks because I wanted to get back into that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. Awesome. No, I think that's really cool. So
Yeah.
I
Just for
think
fun.
just
Yeah.
for fun, right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Anything else? What else you kind of have you kind of taken on or just kind of what rabbit holes have you gone down just for fun or because it was like, oh, this is really cool. Um,
Hmm. I'm trying to think. I listen to true crime a lot.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Why true
But
crime? I
also for
mean,
fun.
you are not the first to be interested in this. It always gives me a little bit of pause. I'm like, why are you interested in the mind of mass
You
murderers?
should
But
listen to his podcast. They're interesting.
yeah, no, I followed Serial obsessively when it first came out. And I think Mindhunters is one of my favorite shows of all time. Like, there's a lot of things
Yeah.
uh, uh, to get into that's really interesting there. Just overall, right? Um, yeah, so absolutely, I think that there's a lot to be learned and studied there. The brain,
Yeah, I like things that like twist your like kind of like doubt
yeah, yeah,
like everything
kind
around
of
you. I think that's really
shape your
interesting.
brain and different
Just
things.
like
Yeah,
yeah, for
yeah,
fun. Yeah.
yeah. Very
And
cool, very cool.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
read a lot. Unfortunately, like not anymore after I got the job, but like
Mhm. So I'm going to not
but I'm
subtly, I'm
trying to
going
get
to,
back into
yeah,
that.
I'm going to not too subtly encourage you to get back into it.
Yeah.
Um, just because I think that it's important, right? Regardless. But I think regardless it's important, but let me give you a few like very tangible reasons why. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to show you is this. So let me go to uh, okay. So this is something that I've put towards all of my younger students, right? Is showing them kind of this question. So this is a question for Columbia. Okay, so Columbia admissions, this is one of the first essay responses that you're going to have to answer. List a selection of text resources and outlets that have contributed to your
Hmm.
intellectual development outside of academic courses, including but not limited to books, journals, websites, podcasts, essays, plays, presentations, videos, museums, and other content that you enjoy.
Right.
By a fairly easy margin, my students who have done well getting into top schools can answer this like that. And in fact,
Hmm.
have so many that they run into the word count immediately.
Yeah.
My students who struggle can't list more than what like Great Gatsby things they've had to read for school, right?
Yeah.
And so I want you to set this just kind of as a background, gotta
Hmm.
build this up sort of priority for yourself is start building
Hmm.
this list for yourself, right? And
Yeah.
and check out all the different types of media, right? Like don't just Don't just go off YouTube. Don't just go off of even but read books, of course, right? But expose yourself to where all of these different forms of learning, right? And check things out. You're on the East Coast. There's actually so many cool museums. Like there's just a lot of different ways to engage in learning and have your mind challenged. And I think just across the board, the students who unprompted can answer this well are just naturally they just tend to do better because that sense of curiosity, that sense of inquisitive, but also that sense of like well-rounded knowledge and ability to make unexpected connections between things is not something you can cultivate last minute when you're a rising senior cramming your essays, right? It's something
Yeah.
that you have to kind of build up over a long period of time. So I
That
love
makes
that I love that you used to read.
I
um, Please return to that habit, right? And
will.
just even if it's just like a book a month, right? Just start
Mhm.
setting yourself some of those expectations and standards. If you know you have an interest, like in the criminal mind, right, and true crime, so much out there
Mhm.
that you can start tapping into, right? And start setting that goal for yourself. The other reasons why tactically I want you to be reading is that students who read now, the SAT is a breeze. If you are reading content that is at like 2 grade levels above you, right? So basically a junior, what a junior is reading, or reading just like The Economist, different things that just on a regular basis, the English section of the SAT is going to be a joke,
Mhm.
right? And it just saves you so much time and money on prep, right? On all of these other things, right? If you are in the habit of reading, and if you're in the habit of reading, you'll become a better writer because you know what good writing sounds like, right?
Yeah.
And so, for all of these reasons, it is the most frustratingly lost skill because none of my students can write an essay at all, right? Because they don't read, right? And this is true in English and in Japanese, right? Keep up
Mhm.
your exposure to it. And just by doing that, by having that habit, you already put yourself into rare in like you separate yourself from a lot of your peers actually. Right.
Yeah.
Because so many of your peers are visual learners, right? They watch a YouTube video, they watch an Instagram reel to learn. Even a lot of their learning is done that way. But universities are still pretty old school, right? um, but also good communication. And you'll do some of it, it will make you a better debater as well. So
Yeah.
do some of those
Yeah.
things,
I'm
right?
going to do that.
And you can also even start by people who you're interested in. If you have role models, if you have people who you're interested in, read their memoirs, read their autobiographies, learn how to talk about yourself and write about yourself in terms of stories. Just a lot of things to get into. So that would be
Mhm.
one final thing that I would really recommend is keep that prompt just in the back of your mind, and your goal should be at every month you should be able to add to that list, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
of just stuff that you learn for fun, right?
Yeah.
And do that over 4 years. When it comes time to actually go through the application, to do the SAT, to do all of these, to do the interview that you probably are going to do the video submissions that you definitely are going to have to be doing by the time you are applying for university, it's all a piece of cake, right? And so I really cannot stress that enough beyond everything else that we've talked about, right?
Mhm.
And it also gives you a space for your interest to emerge, right? Because if you start down that reading rabbit hole, it's then pretty easy to tell, right? Look at your bookshelf. Okay, these are some of the things that we should be targeting for your capstone, for your research, for all of these other pieces.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. All right. Got a little bit of time at the end. Wanted to make sure that we have time for either questions from yourself or from mom and dad, just so that we can make sure we're kind of all aligned ahead of connecting you with Vincent and getting the rest of your strategy plan started. Any questions from any of
Okay.
you? Yep.
I think I've asked everything I want to.
Okay. その母さんは？
マイク、マイク。
ありがとうございます。
はい。
ちょっとやるべきことが、分かってよかったです。ちょっと、なんか、どうすればいいのかっていう感じだったので、まあ、ま
Okay.
ずはサマーの ことをさっさと考えてですね。
Okay.
はい。
Okay. Okay, great. Then I will send up a summary of this that you all receive. And then I think next steps will be connecting you with Vincent. Vincent will be reaching out to schedule kind of his first meeting with you. I'll debrief with him. Kind of, I meet him tomorrow, so I'll kind of share kind of our conversation and what priorities should be with you. And then between you and him, you can decide kind of when is best to utilize your sessions with me. And we'll kind of utilize those ahead of major deadlines and major decisions that need to be made about summer programs or wherever. I will be available for those. And of course, if there's any kind of additional kind of types of questions that you have, I will be able to kind of support those as well.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Okay, great. Good to see the whole family
Thank you.
here, and looking forward to getting started with you. Good luck with the start of your term. If
Thank
there
you.
is anything else, please let me know. I will put together a list of potential summer programs as well as connect you with our debate team, so you can start moving those things forward pretty immediately. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Go read a book.
I will.
Okay. All right. Take care. Thank you, everybody. All
Thank
right.
you.
We'll talk
Bye.
soon. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. Bye.